Hello, and welcome to the Quest for Games. I'm Jerry, and in this video, I'm going to do a how to play of the 1 to 4 player game Champions of Midgard by Gray Fox Games. You can actually play this with as many as 6 players. If you have the Mountains expansion, you can add 1. Then if you buy the storage box, you can add another, so you can get up to 6 players. I'm going to set this up for a 2-player game. In Champions of Midgard, the current chief has died, and all heck is broken out. Seems like the monsters in the area have figured out that the chief is no longer there, and they're starting to come into the village. So you and your fellow clan leaders are trying to vie for favor and honor in an attempt to win the right to be the new chief. Well, how is that done? Well, you have workers that go out and gather food or do farming or get gold. And you have warriors that go out and fight the trolls or the draugrs or go out on journeys to sea and fight monsters out at sea, all in an effort to gain glory. You also have a destiny that you're trying to achieve to give you more honor. So it's a worker placement game with some dice rolling for the fighting. Let's get this to the table and I'll show you how to set it up and play. Okay, welcome to the table. This board is so big, I'm having a little bit of hard time keeping it all in frame, but let's go through setup. So we placed the board out and I've gotten a few things set up, but I'll talk about what I did. Next thing I'm supposed to do is take this round token, which has got an hourglass on it, and put it on round 1 so that we're ready for round 1. I'm going to set up for a 2-player game. So for a 2-player game, I put out 1 military tile, and I've shuffled these tiles, but I'll do it, shuffle them up again. And I put out 1 military tile into the marketplace. If I was setting up for a 3-player game, I'd put out 2 of these economic tiles, but because I'm setting up for a 2-player game, I will only put out 1 of those. And I'll go take a closer look at it while I'm talking about the game rules. If I was setting up for a 4-player game, I would put, you can see 3 here and 4 there. I'd be putting out 2 military and 2 economy tiles in a 4-player game. And then I did say that there's ways to get it higher than that. There's this additional board here that I would put off to the side, and that would allow me to put more marketplaces out, and I could put out marketplaces for a 5 or 6-player game. So now I can take these tiles and put them back in the box. So I had to put out the small, which is a 5 capacity long ship, and the large, which is a 10 capacity long ship, into the ship spot. And then I have to put these two ships that are available in the 2-player game. You'll see markings on the other ships that say they're only supposed to come out for a 3 or 4-player game. And then, like I said, because I have an expansion, there's one that I'm supposed to bring out if I'm doing a 5-player game. So then we have to place out all these cards. So we'll start with the troll cards. We shuffle up the troll cards and we put them in this spot. We shuffle up the draugr cards and we put them in this spot. We shuffle up the runesmith cards, which look like this, just so that you know which ones are which, but you can see it on the board too. It helps you with that. Shuffle up the rune cards, place those in this spot. Then we shuffle up the destiny cards, which go out here in the sage's house. Put them here. We'll shuffle up the merchant ship cards and place them here. We'll shuffle up the sea journey cards and place them here. The monster cards for the sea journeys or for the journeys. Shuffle those up and place them here. So we're going to now start putting out some of those cards. So we put out the first troll and we flip him over. We put out 2 Draugrs. We'll put out 2 of the rune cards. While we're here, we will deal each player who I haven't really talked about picking player boards, but so let's talk about that real quick. There are player boards that you have to choose from. The way you're supposed to do that is you assign the first player token to whoever was the last one victorious in battle, or however you want to assign it. And I'll just say this person's the first player. The player to their right, or the person that would be the last player, gets to pick their leader first. In this case, they're going to pick Gilfer, who has the ability that says that if they go to the merchant ship place, they don't have to pay to go to the merchant ships. And I will put their yellow marker on their spot and keep a yellow marker in their corner there. Yeah, that's still in. And they will have these yellow workers, but they're not going to get all those yellow workers. This player's picked Svanhilder, and her special power is that a hit from a white dice, which we'll explain later, a hit from a white dice will act like 2 hits. Then we're supposed to deal 2 of the destiny cards to each player. And that's why I sidetracked to get to the destiny stuff. We will deal out 1 merchant ship card or 1 merchant card. And that's what I was saying. In this merchant card, you can see that it will cost you 1 gold. You'll get 2 food and a wood, which you don't really know what those mean. But player 2 will get to do that for free, won't pay the gold for it. Then we're going to set up the journey board. And you'll see that this spot out here is only for 4 players. So we set up the journey cards. So we put journey cards out into each space face down. And we only use the last destination if it's a 4-player game. And we'll put monsters out. In each one of the destinations. So now we have the card work all done. For the meeples, in a 2-player game, you get 4 meeples and 1 goes into the huts. If you're playing a 3 or 4-player game, you only get 3 meeples and 2 will go into the huts. And we'll be able to get those workers at some point in time. We'll talk about that when we're talking about the rules. So then we also have to give out resources to everybody. So there is food resources. This is food and this is wood. Yeah, there are better tokens than this, but that's what I have. That's what comes with a base game. So we give a food and a wood and a food and a wood to each player. And I have these. I'll try to keep them on camera a little bit. We have gold resources. And each player gets 1 gold. And then we have these dice. There's a black, a red, and a white. The black represents an axe warrior. The red represents a spear warrior. And the white represents a swords warrior. And you can see that here on the player's aid that I've put out in front of you. So each person gets a white sword warrior. And then we're supposed to keep these dice somewhere where everybody can reach them. And that's a bit of a stretch for me, but then we have the blame tokens, which I'll put right here. We have the blame tokens, and we have the favor tokens, which I'll put right up here. We also have wound tokens, which we will use as we're fighting the monsters. There's two ways to do the destiny cards. The original rules say that each person gets one destiny card, but the way we've house ruled it is you get two destiny cards and you pick which destiny cards you want to take. I guess technically, based on the real rules, you're supposed to take each person gets only one destiny card, and that's your destiny. I guess we've been familiar with enough other games where they basically say two. Basically, what the destiny cards are is that's your way to get victory points. This one says if you have the most gold at the end of the game, then you'll get 5 glory. If you're tied, you'll get 2 glory. So like I said, these are kind of your mission cards or whatever you want to refer to it. That's your goal. So having only one randomly given to you just didn't seem right. But officially, the rules say you're only supposed to get one. And with that, we're set up and ready to play. So let's talk about how you play Champions of Midgard. The way you play Champions of Midgard is you have these workers. You will place your worker out somewhere and do what that space is supposed to do for you. We will play it in 8 rounds, and up here at the top, this is our round tracker. Each time we go through a full set of using all of our workers and then passing our turn, we'll do a combat phase after that. But each time you go through that, you'll move this up one. And when you get to the 8th one, when we're finished with the last one, we do final scoring, and whoever has the most victory points is the winner. So I set up the cards as I was setting up the game, but each round you'll reset those up. The other thing that you're supposed to do at the beginning of the round before you start playing is you put a axe axe warrior there, you put a spear warrior there and a swords warrior there, and you put one food in the smokehouse. You'll see that these all have a blue top on them here, and you'll see it in the player's aid that the blue top. So all of these, this one over here too, has a blue banner on it. That is telling you that each turn we will refill those with something. If somebody doesn't go there to take those, in the next round there'll be an extra one. All the rest of these, you'll see there's only one circle on most of them. That means only one worker can be placed there. So once one person takes that spot, the other player cannot take that spot. One of the exceptions to that is the hunting ground. And the hunting ground, you can put as many workers up here on the hunting ground as you want to. And we'll talk about how the hunting ground works in a little bit. There is a guide over here that works you through that. A round is made up of worker placement. You'll place your workers and do whatever the space that you place your workers on would do. Then we will assign warriors for combat. Then we will do the combat, and then we'll clean up and get ready and get set up for the next round. So let's go through and talk about what each one of the spaces are. The hunting grounds, you can place, anybody can place workers there, and you can actually place more than one worker there if you wish to. What that hunting ground does is when you assign your warriors, you will assign dice to the hunting grounds, and when you roll the dice, every hit, so every hit, that's what a hit looks like on the swords dice. Every hit, you get one food for that, maximum of 6 food. So then you could also assign yourself to the troll. You could go say, I'm going to go fight the troll. You would put a worker in the troll spot, or here for the hunting grounds. You'd put a worker in the troll spot, and that says, I'm going to go fight the troll. Something that needs to be understood about the troll is that if no one fights the troll, then everybody gets blame. So everybody's got to take a blame token. If you fight the troll and you lose, everybody still has to take a blame. If you fight the troll and win, you get to remove one blame token and give it or assign a blame token to another player. So that's the troll spot. We'll talk about combat in a minute. And so that I can talk about combat, I'll just say that the first turn that the green player took was to go after the troll, which is a little premature. But if I keep going across, then I have a fight the Draugr. I can fight either one of these two Draugrs, so I have to choose which one of the two Draugrs I want to fight. And I put my worker in either one of those spots saying, that's the Draugr that I wish to fight. I can come over here and go to the Rune Smith, which lets me pick either one of these two runes, or I can pick a rune from the face down deck. So the rune cards are, this one will give you 2 glory right off the bat for having the card. You will take the card and you'll put it into your area face up. And you can see that on this card it says, when I flip the card over, I get to take 2 destiny cards, pick one that I want, and then discard the other destiny card. So that's the way most of the runes work. There are some that will allow you to suffer less damage in fights if you flip it over. They all do some kind of a boost or a boon for you when you flip them over. It will cost you 1 wood. If you go to this spot, it'll cost you 1 wood to be able to pick a rune card. There's the longhouse, and in the longhouse, if this player decided that they were going to take the longhouse, yellow player takes the longhouse, then that means they get the first player token. They also take 1 sword warrior from the supply. So they are now first person. If the green player went there, they would get the sword person, and they would also still have to pass to the next player on their left. There's the marketplace, and in the marketplace you can trade a food, a gold, or a wood for the same of a different type. You can go to the swordsmith, which the green's going to go do, and they will get a sword warrior dice. In the first marketplace, you can spend a gold and get a sword warrior and a spear warrior dice for spending 1 gold. It's not bad. Coming back over here, you can put yourself on the sage's house. And by putting yourself on the sage's house, you can look at one of these journey cards that are face down so that you know what the journey is going to be. And then you will take 1 of the destiny cards. If you go to the worker's hut, you would pay, first person in pays 5 gold, second 4, 3, and then 2. And you would take this worker off of the worker's hut, and that worker would become yours that turn. You can go over to the spear warrior area and put a worker on the spear warrior, and you would automatically get the spear warrior dice that's there. The other marketplace one we have is just by standing on there, you get, just by putting a person there, you get a wood and a food. The stave church allows you to pay 1 gold for 1 favor, or 3 gold for 2, or 6 gold for 3, or 10 gold for 4 if you go there. The blacksmith gives you 1 axe warrior. This is where the yellow player is going to go. They can go to this merchant ship. Normally, the merchant ship would cost me 1 gold, and I would get 2 food and 1 wood. But because of the leader that the yellow player is playing, they get to do this for free. So they get 2 food and 1 wood. We have shipwright. So you can come over here and you can pay, in this case, nothing, or this one, 1 gold, and you would take either one of these ships out to sea, and you would put your worker on the spot to pay that, or you could put your you could put yourself on the shipwright itself and pay, in this case, 2 wood and 2 gold, or 1 wood and 1 gold, and you'd be able to take these ships yourself. And they have different capacity of 8 and capacity of 6. And that's how you will be able to set sail to fight these, go out on the journey to fight these, but we'll talk about that in a minute. The smokehouse gives you, you can take all the food that's here, but right now there's only one. Okay, that covers all the worker placement spots. So let's just go through and continue these players' turns and kind of see what would happen. So since I am going after the troll, I have the 2. The troll has 2 hits, 3 defense. 2 dice is not going to be very good for me there. I think I'll spend my gold. I have the 1 gold. I will spend that 1 gold and give myself a yellow, a white, and a red dice, or an axe and a sword warrior. So then the yellow player takes their turn. 2, 2, and 3. They're going to go fight this one. Player 1 will do the blacksmith and take that warrior. So the yellow player is going to go get a spear warrior. So they now have these 3, and they're supposed to be on your board like that. These should be on my board like this. There's only space enough to put 8 dice on a board, so you can't carry more than 8 warriors in your clan. Both of the 2 characters have put out all their workers. So then we start to resolve the commitment of where people are going to go with their dice. The green player needs to be able to do 3 damage and will take 2 damage. Since she has special ability with the sword warriors, she's going to commit her sword warriors to that encounter. The yellow player needs to get 2 hits and will suffer 3 dice. Yellow player decides that they're going to put all of their dice on that one. So now we've assigned our dice. These dice that are left behind just stay with this player. So as I begin trying to do the combat things, there's a few things that I should probably talk about these cards. So let's put this card out here so you can, what any of the monsters cards look like. This is technically a monster, but the troll and the Drakkar cards are set up the same way. This tells you how much they hit for. This tells you how much defense they have. That tells you how much gold they're going to give you, in this case 14. So 2 hits, 3 defense, 14 gold. You cannot attack this monster with an axe warrior. That's what that means. So I could not put red dice on this one. Or if I did put red dice on this, they would be immediately killed. And then I also would get 1 favor token for beating this. So let's take a closer look at this troll that we're going to try to fight, because we've assigned all the dice. It's now time to fight. So the troll, 2 attack, 3 defense, 6 honor for fighting, for getting them. Remove 1 of my blame, which I don't have right now, and I can assign it to somebody else. But I also get 1 wood. So let's see what happens with this. So for my first roll, I got 2 swords, a shield, and then a blank. The 2 swords, because of my character's special power, actually act as 3 hits, because her special power gives 1 additional damage. She wouldn't get 2 additional damage, only gets 1 additional damage for this hit dice. But that does 3 damage to the troll, so the troll is defeated. The troll is going to do 2 damage back to me, but I blocked 1 of the 2, so I have to sacrifice 1 of my warriors. They died in battle. These 2 warriors come back. The troll is mine. I beat the troll. I get 1 wood for beating the troll. I also get 6 honor for beating the troll, or the green player gets 6 honor. And I can give 1 blame to my opponent. And now I keep the troll, because there are some of your destiny cards that say if you have the most trolls or whatever. So now let's resolve the combat for the yellow player. Well, the yellow player got 3 hits but didn't block anything. So the 3 hits is enough to take out the 2 It'll do 2 damage, takes 2 hits, gives 5 glory and 3 gold. So the 2 hits was enough, 3 hits was enough to take that out, but they didn't block anything, so they have to sacrifice 2 dice. So they're going to sacrifice the 2 white dice. And their red dice comes back. The red warrior comes back. They now take this card too, and we'll start talking about those cards here in a second. They also get 5 honor for doing that. And they get 3 gold. You'll notice that this Draugr is blue, has this little blue diamond at the bottom of it. This one is red and has the little red circle at the bottom of it, which this one's going to be discarded now anyway. There's a yellow one, has a yellow diamond at the bottom, and you'll notice that one, you can't hit it with swords. So at the end of the game, if you get a set of all 3 colors, a blue, a red, and a yellow, then you get 5 additional victory points for every set that you have. You've already gotten the victory points on the card, but you hold on to the card because at the end, if you have sets of colors, you get 5 more victory points for those sets of colors. All right, there's a few more things that I want to cover. So let's go through a reset and restart of a new round. So at the reset, you take all your workers back. We flip out a new troll. We were supposed to remove any Draugr that we didn't fight and put out 2 new Draugrs. We leave these journey cards because none of them have been flipped over. We leave all these monsters, but because those monsters did not get defeated, they're different than the Draugrs. The monsters, each one of the monsters gets a gold on them to make them more appealing and want you to try to attack them the next round. Sorry, when I discarded them, I was supposed to put them down here. We got to move this round indicator to round 2. We have to fill up these spaces with their resources. So you see there's 2 wood in there right now. I have to discard this card and flip it over. Okay, so now we're set up and ready for the next round. The first player is now the yellow player, and the first thing the yellow player wants to do is go get their free merchant ship because that's 2 spear warriors. So they get 2 spear warriors. Green player is going to go up after the troll again. Yellow player now wants to go take these free 2 warriors and take another spear and a sword warrior. Green player's like, oh, they're taking up all the warriors. I'm losing out. I'm going to go take a sword warrior. Yellow player's going to go take the high capacity ship and pay 1 gold. Green player's going to go after the weaker of these 2. Yellow player is going to take the 2 food. So for the last thing, the green player is going to take a spear warrior. They can't put axe warriors on this Draugr, which is the one they chose. So they can't use that axe warrior. That's why they went for spear. So they're going to, now we have to assign dice. So we're going to assign warriors to there, to there. Then it's yellow. Yellow is going to assign 4 dice to their boat and 4 food. So that's 8. Just to be on the safe side, let's assign 5 and 5 food. And we'll explain the food here in a minute. So they're going to be safe and they're assigning 5 and 5. So the first thing we have to do is take care of the troll fight for the green here. Roll on the 3 dice. Actually, that's 5 hits, right? Because she gets an extra one for each one of these. So that one works out to be 3, that one works out to be 2. So that's 5 hits, which is enough to take the troll out, but unfortunately no blocks. So the troll's coming back and taking 2 of those out. So these 2 are going back to the supply. But they get the troll. They get 5 honor. And they get 1 wood and can assign 1 blame to the other player. Then they're going to go try to do their Draugr. It only needs 1 hit, but does 2 damage. Got 1 hit, which is enough to take it out. But because it does 2 damage, both of those warriors are gone. And the green player gets to take that Draugr, so they get 4 more. 4 more honor. They get 2 gold. And they now have a blue monster. So now this is where this is going to get kind of interesting. The ship sets sail, and the yellow player decides they're going to go after this monster. So to get to this journey card, so they have to have 1 food for every 2 of their warriors. So they have to spend 3 food. They have 5 warriors. They could have 6 warriors. They're spending the 3 food because these 2 covered the first 2. This one covers the 1 by itself. Now we have to flip the journey card over and see what happens with the journey card. So we flip the journey card over and it says lose 1 either food or a warrior dice. Well, we happen to have extra food, so they lost 1 more food. And now they've resolved this journey card. And they can now fight this monster. So the monster is going to take 3 damage, but do 2 damage each turn. So let's roll their dice out. They blocked 1 and they did 2 damage. So the monster needs 3. So we put 2 damage on the monster. And they blocked 1 of them, but they have to take 1 damage. The sword warrior has less hits on it than the spear warrior. So we're going to go ahead and get rid of the sword warrior. And now we can go again. Second round of this battle. And this time we have 4 hits and we're blocking 1. Well, those 4 hits plus the 2 that are already on here were enough to take out this monster. So the monster's gone. Monster attacks back with 2, blocked 1. So one of these dice has to go back. One of those warriors were killed, but the other 3 come back. This food, because it was on the boat, is forfeit, even though we didn't use it. They get 14 glory. So they get 14 glory. They get 1 favor token. They get this gold. And they now also have this red monster. Now the long ship comes back to this spot. You're only renting it. That round is done. We're going to move on to the 3rd round. Cleaning up after that round, we are going to discard any trolls or draugrs that we didn't take care of. We're sliding this one over. We're going to put out a new journey card and a new monster. The 2 monsters that were already there each get additional gold on them. We pick up all of our workers. We refill the food and the dice. We discard this one. And we put a new merchant ship out. We put out a new troll. A new set of draugrs. Oh, they're all red. Oh well. And we're now set to begin round 3. So that's how this goes. You continue to keep putting your workers out there. You get warriors and you go to battle, get gold and glory for the battle. You are trying to do your destiny card. So now let's fast forward a little bit and talk about what happens at the end of round 8 when we do end game scoring. So we've cleaned up after round 8 and I pulled the yellow players' things over to the center of the board here so it's easier for me to get to them. And we're going to start end game scoring. So for the green player, first thing we do is their destiny cards. The green player has these 2 destiny cards, the most favor and the most gold. So let's see. We'll do the most favor first. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 favor, and yellow player has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 favor, so they're tied, which means that the green player gets only 2 honor for that. Most gold, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Couldn't have worked that out any better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Uh-oh, they're tied again. So they only get 2 for that too. So that was the green player's destiny. Let's try the yellow player's destiny. They also had 2. One of theirs is they should have to have the most runes or rune cards and the most yellow monsters. So the most rune cards. They have 2 rune cards. The green player only has 1 rune card. So they do have the most rune cards. So they get to move 4. They get 4 honor for that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the most yellow, they have 1 yellow. The green player didn't fight any yellow monsters. Should have fought that last one. Well, so they get that, and that is worth 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, we have a tie. Okay. So now we look at the number of sets. Well, green didn't have any sets of blue, red, and yellow. We know there was only 1 yellow monster here, so the yellow player gets 5 more victory for that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because they have the 1 set. So now let's see. The next thing we're supposed to look at is rune cards. Green player has 1 rune card, which is worth 2. 1, 2. The yellow player has 2 rune cards, which are worth 2 apiece, so 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have to look at long ships. The green player did buy the 1 long ship, which is worth 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yellow player bought the one that's worth 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 for each favor. We knew there was 6 favor there, so that's, well, 6 and 6, so 12 and 12. For every 3 gold, they get 1 more glory. They both had 6, so that's 2 and 2. There is a token that I can give to the yellow player that signifies that they passed 100, although I'm sure we probably pretty much know that. Now we have to go look at blame. Well, that's one of the reasons I think that the green player was always fighting the trolls. They gave 1, 2, 3, 4 blame. The yellow player still has 4 blame. So at 4 blame, that's minus 10 points. 1, 2. Oh, that's so close. So that's their 4 blame, but this is not a 100 anymore. They're back in the 90s. And that's the end. So the yellow player won by 1 at 93 to 92. So that's it for the rules teach. Let's go to final thoughts. So final thoughts for Champions of Midgard. Champions of Midgard is a good worker placement game, and it's got, in my mind, an added benefit of rolling those dice and doing the fights. Other worker placement games like Viticulture or Stone Age, you're you're collecting resources, and like in Viticulture, you're trying to complete contracts and that kind of stuff. Those are nice, and I do like Viticulture for a worker placement game, but this one's got a little added difference to it or benefit for when I feel like doing a little bit of combat. It does have that combat against the monsters and the journeys out and the risk of taking your journey out and not knowing what's going to happen when you flip over those journey cards. There is a way to go to the sage's house and figure out what journey card, but that costs you an extra spot, right? Well, you do get a destiny card for that, but anyway, um, so I do like that. It's a good, in my mind, intro worker placement game. Not very difficult to learn. I hope this teach wasn't too long, but maybe it was. Build quality. The build quality is pretty good. The workers are wooden meeples. Your victory point trackers or glory trackers are wooden discs. My because I have the storage box solution, I actually have Viking helmets now that are wooden Viking helmets that go in there. I have seen upgrades for the wooden cubes that are food and wood, but I think the wooden cubes are fine. All the cardboard pieces are nice, thick cardboard. It is nice that these market and military spots that are out there are big, thick cardboard pieces and not just a piece of cardstock. They're a nice cardboard piece. The cards are good quality cards. All the dice are good quality dice. So I think the build quality is really good. As far as rating goes, I put this at a 7. I recommend it. It's a good worker placement game. There are times when, if I'm going to play a worker placement, I prefer this over Viticulture, but generally, I think I prefer Viticulture for a worker placement game. Is this game for you? Well, if you like worker placement, that's basically what this is. If you like worker placement with that little twist of I'm chucking dice to fight monsters and taking some risks in the monsters that I'm fighting, so some things are not predictable. There's a lot more risk versus reward and a lot more randomness in it because there's a lot of dice chucking and dice rolling. So if you're not a big fan of, well, I've been trying this strategy out the whole time and I got myself going and I know exactly what resources I need, and I've got my workers doing the things that I need them to do, and I don't want any randomness in my game, although I think there's randomness in just about any game. This is probably not for you for a worker placement. If you don't mind that randomness and you like the idea of chucking the dice against the mobs and against the monsters, this is a good game and it's a fun game. But that's, I think, what you're going to have to think about is the dice brings a certain amount of randomness to the game, which I know some people would prefer not to have. And with that said, I purchased everything that you saw. I'm not sponsored. The opinions that you see in these videos are mine and mine alone. So if you got this far with me, if you could like this video and subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate that. And until next time, keep playing games. See ya.